What up, Hype Squad? It's your boy Lucrecio coming at you with another video, alright? So, well, another live stream, because we doing the live streams today, alright? Trying to find out what time will work best for these live streams. I've been trying them later on at night. Don't really like the results too much. So, hey, we're going to try them a little bit earlier and see what we could come up with, alright? So, as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the games happening today. We obviously got a lot of NBA action going on, and I'm just want to get on here and discuss, you know, the type of action that we got going on in the NBA today. So let's talk about one of the marquee games going on. Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks versus going on in the NBA today versus Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum. Let me check these volume levels real quick. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the Celtics. So we already saw this match take place one time, and the results were very much in the Greek Freaks and Milwaukee Bucks' favor. Well, we get to see a little bit of a rematch. We get to see what's going on with them the second time. Obviously, the Celtics coming off the shock of losing, you know, possibly their best player, but at the very least one of their very best players. They had to recover from that real quick and figure out, you know, where they would go from here, how they would rally behind Kyrie Irving, and how they would just figure it all out. So it's obviously been like quite the journey for those guys, and while I obviously don't wish that on anybody, we'll see how the Celtics can rebound from that. Now, me myself, I don't think didn't think the Celtics were going to be like the number 2 seed as most people. I've heard even Jeff Van Gundy say that he believed the Celtics would end up as like the number 1 seed or whatever. Or if he didn't say the number 1 seed, he said if Isaiah Thomas didn't come back exactly as he was prior, that they would end up getting upset. I never really believed that because I just don't think the Celtics are set up to win right now. Let's see. It looks like we got a comment. Let's see what we're talking about. Shout out to Justin. The Cavs D is trash. So let's jump to the Cavs real quick. The Cavaliers, their defense overall is not good right now. But my thing is with defense, I think defense is a year-long commitment, right? I don't think defense, even if you have like a bunch of really good perimeter defenders or whatever, I don't believe that it necessarily means you're going to be a great defensive team right out the back. I think defense is basically team chemistry, and as this team continues to get along and continues to bond and continues to gel together, let's see, it looks like we have some trouble with the streams. Let's see what's going on. Alright, I did see defensive wise, I did see the Cavs look like they are showing signs of becoming a better perimeter defensive team. In the game against, who did they play before Brooklyn? They played the Bulls. There were times in that game where I thought they looked very good defensively. Not the whole game. They still were bad that game defensively as well. But I thought there were time periods in that game where the switching looked very crisp, and they all looked like they were on one accord. They were denying penetration into the lane from Chicago. Now, there's a couple things going on there. Chicago is just not very good. So obviously, if a team sucks or whatever, it can make any defense look good. So that could be what's going on with them there. But I just think they were playing good defense. I thought they were communicating. I thought that, like I said, they were switching, you know, seamlessly. I thought they were playing pretty good defense. The rim protection is going to be a question because even with Tristan Thompson, even him, and he's their best rim protection right now, and I don't think he's that great of a rim protector. So they may look into trying to get somebody else in there to back up Kevin Love. or whatever, if it does come to the basket too much. But ultimately, this is a work in progress. I don't think they'll be horrible defensively the whole year. I don't think it'll be like last year where the whole year they were terrible defensively, and then in the playoffs they were terrible defensively, especially in the finals. I don't think it's going to be a situation like that. So, let's see what we talking about. So with this Boston and Milwaukee game, I really think we're gonna see. Well, I'm excited about it first of all because we get to see Antetokounmpo again. Anytime we get to see this guy on national TV, it's a treat for the NBA, basically the whole NBA community, because Antetokounmpo is just good, man. He has a whole lot of skill, like the ball handling skills, the passing ability. He has shown some signs of having a high basketball IQ. I think he's a good playmaker and things of that nature. I think his shot is coming along. He can attack the basket. He can score. He can defend literally 1 through 5. Like, it's very few people you can ever say that. Somebody was talking on TV, talking about the play versus the Portland Trailblazers where he got the steal on C.J. McCollum, a ball handler, somebody who acts as the primary ball handler sometimes on that team. How he got like steal off of him, and then on the very next scored, and then on the very next play got a block off their center. That's really outstanding. Like, that just shows a insane athlete, somebody with the insane versatility. Antetokounmpo is that guy, man. Like, as we start to see, even though we haven't seen too many signs, but as we start to see LeBron kind of fade back a little bit, start to get old just a little bit and all that stuff, I really do think Antetokounmpo is going to be that next guy that steps forward. And when I say that, I don't even mean step forward in the Eastern Conference to dominate the Eastern Conference. I mean step forward to dominate the NBA. Because if you look at Antetokounmpo himself as an individual, and then you also look at how that team is being set up, how the team has been put together, when they start to understand and when they really start to get it, when they really start to put the pieces together for this team, Golden State is going to have all it can handle with this particular team. I honestly believe that, because they're long. They make you have to they take some of that space away that, like, a team like Golden State, a team like Houston, a team like Cleveland, who create a lot of space on the floor, they take some of that space away because they're so long and they're so quick. And you know that you have all these long, versatile athletes who can switch every position or whatever. There's also news, and I agree with you about Giannis. Every year he's one of them Kawhi Leonard types, right? Where every single year they come back to the NBA or whatever, and they look like steps and steps ahead of where they were last year, and then they were already good last year. So it's crazy. It's crazy to see how good these guys are getting year after year after year. So there's also a lot of news surrounding Malcolm Brogdon right now. Malcolm Brogdon is another one of those guys who make the Milwaukee Bucks work, right? He plays the point guard position. He's a good enough ball handler to help the Greek Freak out with some of the ball handling responsibilities. He's also a very good shooter. He's always a defender. He's also a defender who I think will become a great defender eventually. He certainly has the length. He certainly has the athleticism. I think he's not there yet, but I think he's going to be a very good defender in this league. So to have there's news about Malcolm Brogdon being traded over to the Phoenix Suns for Eric Bledsoe. Now, I think there's going to be a very interesting situation if they choose to go ahead and make that trade. I really do think that's going to be very interesting. Eric Bledsoe is not as locked down. I think Patrick Beverley's better defensively as a point guard, but he's one of the premier point guard defenders. Like, he's somebody, most of the point guards in the NBA right now, they can't check each other. Like, Curry can't check Kyrie. Kyrie can't check Curry. John Wall, he can check some of them, but they can't check him. So it's kind of a carousel. Like, none of these guys can guard each other or whatever. Eric Bledsoe is one of those guys. He's not as good as that crop of point guards, but he's one of those guys who, if you have him leading off your defense, you stand a very good chance against some of these point guards, because he can make it hard. He can make it hard on the Curry a little bit. He can make it hard on whoever, because he's athletic. He has good defensive principles. He's smart defensively, quick hands. All the things that you want in the defensive point guard, and more than anything, just the effort to play defense. He's not worried about just getting his offense and not worried about the defensive side. He's worried about the defensive side probably more. So I think having that experience, because that's one of the things that's holding Milwaukee back at this point, right? They have long athletes. They have freakishly long athletes. They have playmakers. They have three-point shooters. They could use more three-point shooters, but they have some three-point shooting. They have, the penetration and Greek Freak and some of these other guys they have on this team. They have versatility. Greek Freak, you got Thon Maker. Thon Maker is somebody who can protect the rim but then come out and shoot three-pointers. You have all this versatility. What you don't have is know-how, basically. None of these guys know how to do it at a high level. Like, they're all good, done anything, so to speak, in a league at this point. So I think Eric Bledsoe going to that team and becoming a leader on that team could help them out a lot. He brings a scoring threat to that point guard position. He brings somebody who could penetrate from that point guard position, somebody who could defend from that point guard position, somebody who play make from that point guard position, but at the same time is willing to share the playmaking duties with Antetokounmpo. So that's another reason why I just think that will be a very, very good mixture. Eric Bledsoe, Antetokounmpo, they can't trade Thon Maker. They got to make sure they keep him on. I would think Jabari Parker is somebody. I don't know if that's an even trade, because we haven't really seen Jabari Parker in the NBA, really. I mean, not for an extended period of time. But I think that's probably the most likely person that they would try to part with. Reason why is because they're not even used to having them. None of those guys are used to playing with Jabari Parker, really, because they haven't played with him. So I would think that's probably the person that they're trying to, unload if they're trying to get Eric Bledsoe in there. Ultimately, from that particular game, I do like what I see out of the young guys with the Celtics. Like, Jaylen Brown is good. I've been saying that since he was at California. I've been saying that since he was in high school. The guy's a freakish athlete. He looks like Michael Jordan. His body looks like Michael Jordan on the court. Not saying, there's any comparison. I'm just saying physically he looks like. Jason Tatum, I don't know why I keep calling him Josh Tatum. Jason Tatum is very, very interesting, in my opinion. He's super, super interesting. Number one, he is like 11 or 6'10" or something like that. They said he was going to be like 6'8" or whatever, but he is long out there. He looks like way taller than advertised. We saw the game. We saw at Duke how, polished his jump shot was, the little high post work or whatever, fadeaways. We saw all that. We knew the three-point shot would be there, would be transferable to the NBA. We knew all of that. However, he still looks a little bit better than we thought, especially when you compare him to how deer in the headlights some of these other rookies kind of look out there sometimes. Josh Tatum looks better, even though we all knew he was going to be, good in the NBA. We all thought he was going to be good in the NBA. He looks a little bit better than advertised, to be very honest. Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is the interesting guy in this whole equation. I'll be happy to watch him tonight. I'm curious to see how this thing with Kyrie Irving is going to turn out. I suspected his game would struggle a little bit once you take LeBron out of the equation. The reason why, it's much easier to attack a defense that's purposely set right? To set up to try to stop one of the best players to ever play basketball in history. So it's a little bit easier to get to the guts of a defense that's set up to stop somebody else. But when that defense is set up to stop you, it's a completely different story. And I think that's what we're seeing with Kyrie Irving. Now, he's had some nice games or whatever, 20 points and 7 assists or whatever, or, 20 whatever, however many points or whatever. But we're not seeing the high efficiency. We're not seeing, the play that we saw at Cleveland up to this point. Now, there's a couple things going on. It is early, right? There's only a couple games to this season. It is a new situation. They have to learn each other. He did lose, possibly the team captain or at least the co-captain or whatever. It is just going to take some time to get used to. But to me, it just seems like it's going to be interesting for Kyrie Irving going forward with this team. At least this season. It'll get a little bit easier next season again because Gordon Hayward is there, and we all know Gordon Hayward is somebody who defenses also have to set up. It's not to the extent that they have to set up to try to stop LeBron. There's not going to be that much. Somebody else to take to relieve you a little bit. So, but I think he's going to struggle this season. I think Boston Celtics are going to need too much from a rookie and a second-year player or whatever. And that never works. Like, if you really have to depend on significant contributions from a rookie, most likely your team's not going to be that good. Because, like I said, Jason Tatum being like a third option on that team and expected to average like 18 points a game or something like that is just not going to work. He's going to, at some point, even as good as he looks now, at some point he's going to hit a slump. And then at some point he's going to hit like the rookie wall or whatever. He's not used to playing 82 games. There's so many things that happen throughout the course of the season. It's just unlikely that he's going to be able to keep, a high level of play up the whole year because, we haven't seen it. We just don't see that happen. So that's what I'm expecting from that situation. Ultimately, as far as tonight is concerned, I have Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks beating the Boston Celtics again. But I think it's going to be a good game. So I'm looking forward to that one. Let's talk about the Atlanta Hawks versus the Chicago Bulls. Have not seen Atlanta yet. Don't know really what to expect from Atlanta. I thought they kind of gave up on their team. I thought instead of really trying to build, from the young guys to build, a more positive future or whatever, I thought they just kind of waved the white flag and said, hey, we'll start over. So I find that interesting. I got Chicago winning that game. Because at least Chicago, those guys play with a lot of effort. Even though they're not very good, they just play with a lot of effort. So I see them taking that game. Dallas Mavericks versus the Memphis Grizzlies. The Dallas Mavericks have a lot of very young, entertaining, interesting players. However, Memphis is just too good. Memphis is 3-1 right now. They beat Golden State. They beat Houston, two of the top teams in the Western Conference. Everybody just kind of wrote them off because they lost Zach Randolph. They lost, a lot of their players that we had grown used to seeing on the Memphis Grizzlies. And they're left with, the James Ennises of the world and stuff like that, and like the D-League players, because they're of all the teams or whatever, them in Miami, but really they really love the D-League. They really pull a lot of their roster off the D-League, and they've been doing that for the last 3 years. And they still been making the playoffs, which is crazy. They do have a lot of really long wing players, though. They have a lot of really strong, athletic guys who aren't that great. These guys aren't good. They're not going to shoot for effort guys. They defend tough. They're really tough defenders. They're strong defenders. They're long. You know what I mean? They're just players that I guess David Fisdale has a formula or whatever that he, employs out there. So anyway, I have the Memphis Grizzlies winning that game fairly easily. We have Portland Trailblazers and Clippers. So that's a pretty good matchup this early in the season. The Clippers did lose their European sensation, Milos Tedanas, whatever, I don't know how to say his name. He was making, Sports Center highlights and stuff from his passing abilities. As a lot of those international players do, a lot of those EuroLeague players come over here because they have a different set of skills. A lot of them are flashy, with the flashy handles and the flashy passes and things of that nature. We've seen it for years. We saw Ricky Rubio. We saw, what's his name, Smooth Criminal, Rudy Fernandez. We saw Sergio Rodriguez. We've seen a lot of these guys over the years who come over right away. They're flashy passers. They're very entertaining to watch. For some reason, a lot of them don't last long, even though, like Rudy Fernandez, for example, who played for the Portland Trail Blazers. I thought he was a very good NBA player. Like, he wasn't going to be an all-star and this and that or whatever. And then he was also playing behind for you if you want to become a star. But I thought he was pretty good. I really thought Rudy Fernandez was pretty good. He was a good three-point shooter. He was quick. He had, some good handles. He can kind of get to the basket. He had a lot of floaters. He had a lot of left-handed moves. He had a lot of stuff, right? He was a difficult person to guard, especially coming off the bench like that. I don't think he ever liked coming off the bench. I think he probably came to America, searching for stardom. And when he became a role player, even though he was good, he probably just couldn't deal with it. I mean, even though you are playing behind Brandon Roy was very easily much better. But Rudy Fernandez was really good. Anyway, in this particular game, this game should have been a TNT game. They played the little emotional role because DeMarcus Cousins got traded from the Kings to the Pelicans, and they played, so TNT made sure they got their game on TV. It really shouldn't be. That game's gonna suck. The Pelicans versus the Kings, I don't even really want to choose a winner because both teams are bad, and both teams will be bad this year, and Anthony Davis isn't even playing. So they basically, for that weak story, they basically put that game on national TV instead of the game that should have been on national TV, which is the Clippers and the Portland Trail Blazers. Anyway, I got the Clippers in that particular game. As good as Chris Paul is, I would never say much about Chris Paul in a negative fashion. Him and Blake Griffin do not mesh together. Once again, Chris Paul is a very ball-dominant point guard, as he should be. He's a, old-school floor general type of point guard. He should have the ball most of the time. He puts people in position to finish the play. He puts them in the easiest possible position to finish the play. Blake Griffin is somebody who doesn't necessarily need somebody to do that. Blake Griffin is somebody who has his own ball-handling skills. He has a high basketball IQ as well. He's a good passer as well. He has all these attributes that he can't use if Chris Paul is sharing the court with him. He just literally can't use those attributes. So that was very difficult for him. Now he is free of Chris Paul, and now he can play his game as he wants to play. So that's going to be very interesting as well. I do think Blake Griffin is going to be somebody, probably an All-NBA team this year, even though he's missed it the last couple seasons and people started to forget about him. Blake Griffin is good, man. Blake Griffin is good. Anyway, I have them beating the Portland Trail Blazers. Probably going to be a good game, and a lot of people, this is going to be on ESPN tonight, and people are going to get to watch this game because this is going to be probably one of the games of the night. Then we have the Sacramento Kings and the New Orleans Pelicans. Anthony Davis is out. He injured his knee a little bit. I don't think he's out for any significant amount of time. However, he's just not going to play tonight. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. It really won't. I will watch the Kings, though. I am interested in watching De'Aaron Fox and, the rest of those guys. Scal. Who else? Justin Jackson. I'm curious to see how because I haven't got to see them yet. So I'm curious to see how Justin Jackson is going to play and adjust to the NBA as well. So I do have the Kings winning this game, which will be bad for Boogie Cousins, obviously, because he obviously was traded, and I'm sure he wants to go back there and have his like big revenge game or whatever. I just don't see it working out too well. Yep, but those are the matchups for today. So just to do a quick recap, Chicago over Atlanta is my pick. Memphis over Dallas. The Bucks over the Celtics in the TNT National TV primetime game. Clippers over. And the Sacramento Kings over the New Orleans Pelicans. But like I said, star of the night, let's see. I have the star of the night probably being De'Aaron Fox, though. I do think De'Aaron Fox is going to relish the opportunity. Let's see. Boogie will probably, shout out to Allie. Boogie will probably have a big game. No, probably. But my thing with DeMarcus Cousins, even if he does have like a big game where he scores 40 points, I just feel like they're going to lose. Like, Anthony Davis isn't playing. I like Sacramento's young players, right? And this is their first time to be on national TV. They're not going to have a lot of national TV games this season at all. This could be like the only one. Nobody's seen De'Aaron Fox yet. I think De'Aaron Fox is going to have a good game. I just think Sacramento has a lot more weapons than the Pelicans, especially if Anthony Davis isn't even playing. The Pelicans, they're really hurt right now. Rondo's out. Anthony Davis is out. They're really down to, Drew Holiday, DeMarcus Cousins, and Solomon Hill's even out. So it's going to be interesting. I really don't think. First of all, I think this is going to be a bad game. I think the Sacramento Pelicans game is going to be basically going to put a lot of people to sleep. But it's on TV, and I just think Sacramento has it, man. I think Sacramento is going to get them. Boogie Cousins may very well have like 45 points and 12 rebounds or something like that, but I still think it'll be in the losing effort. That's just my. Those are my picks for the games tonight. And let's see. Is there anything else? I'll just go ahead and end this stream. But let me know in the comment section below if you've enjoyed this content and if the time works for you, because I think I'm going to try to get into the daily streams, at least stream every day that there are NBA games on national TV. And if that's the case, I just need to figure out which time will work best for everybody. All right. So anyway, that's the live stream. Let me know in the comments below what you think, if you agree, disagree, or what have you. All right. See you.